Hello and welcome to a new stream. I have not streamed in a very long while, so yeah, welcome and hopefully you can hear me okay. Just let me know real quick if everything looking pretty good. Other than that, yeah, enjoy the stream. Thank you. Today I decided I'm just gonna mess around with a whole bunch of things in in Stormworks instead of automation, one of those games because I've not played this game in a very long time. Now, what I'll be doing today is something very simple. I just decided that I'm gonna be building a boat, but not a normal boat per se. So I don't know much about boats, but all I do know is some of them look freaking insane. So I decided, you know what? Since I don't know much about boats, let's build one. So yeah, hopefully this will turn out good, but there's only one way to find out. So yeah. So that is the plan for today's stream, so let's see how it goes. Whilst I'm building this boat, how has everybody's week been? I hope it's been okay, or good, or awesome, whichever one. My week personally was freaking insane. Had a lot of fun. So yeah. I've been trying to figure out how to record my videos this last little while, and it always seems to bugger up and it always becomes a pain in the butt to try and record any sort of video. So yeah, so I decided I'll also just try streaming again, just to see whether or not it will bugger anything up. But so far it seems like it's going to be okay, I think. But we'll see. We will see. If it does freeze frame and all that kind of stuff, if it decides to stutter and so on, do let me know. I would love to see whether or not I can fix it, but I don't think I can do much. But so far it's been good. So yeah, my plan for this boat is pretty simple, something that I can go and, well, ride out a very big storm. So a big tsunami hitting, because if you don't know this game, you can, in fact, if you play the sandbox variant, meaning if you play a sandbox mode, you can, well, it's actually custom mode if you really think about it, but it still applies, so to speak. And it's a very interesting mode when you look at it from the perspective you can literally control everything, even the time of day, the environment that you put your boat into, so to speak. But as I was saying, I'm gonna try and simulate a tsunami to see whether or not my big ass boat, sorry for my words, will be able to hold its own against big waves. So we'll see. We will see. I'm not doing anything crazy. I think a flat bottom boat will work. I think so. Even though I don't think flat is always the best idea. You know what? No, let's change it up. I've not done anything that is different in a while, so I'm gonna change it up. Let's just quickly do that. Awesome. I think I'm gonna try and make it round at the bottom. Testing the waters a little bit. No pun intended. Ooh, this looks like a good idea. Even though I don't think that's gonna work too well. That way at least. I think I might have to scale it down as I go lower into the boat's hull. I think I might have to go down a few steps. We'll see. I don't think this is gonna work. Interesting. So I think no, it's not gonna work. This is interesting. Ooh, I'm not messed around with these paddles. Ooh, yes, this can work. I think, at least it can work. I think so. So let's put them. I think I'm gonna put them this way. Because that's the shape I want in the front, and I'm going to keep this shape as far as I can, so we will have to see. I'm just going to put those items up to the top there like that, because otherwise it's going to drive me mad. So yeah. I think I'm just going to have to build a regular, like a stepped frame down towards the bottom, so I think I'm going to do that. Oh, we'll have to see if it even decides to work. And as I go down, I'm going to narrow it a little bit at a time. Because that way you're still not messing with the water flow around the front of the boat, at least. At least that's the theory I'm trying to formulate and see whether or not it works, but we'll see. Would have probably been wise to start over and, well, do it this way. I don't know. We'll see. Unless I do something like that. Build it that way, and then I can just use those blocks to fill in the rest. I think that might actually be smart. I don't know. I'm not a professional boat builder. All I know is I think that might work. And now to undo all the work I just did. I think it's gonna be a pain in the butt. It'll be fine. I think. I am destroying my perfect boat. Why? I don't know. Because I can. There will be fine. Let's see. I think if I keep that going downwards, as you can see in the front, it's starting to taper downwards, as you see there. So it's going to be a very, very deep hole, I believe. That's the thought, at least. I think it will be fine. Given the type of boat, it is going to be an icebreaker style. So I think it should represent one, I'd say pretty good. But again, not perfect at everything. Especially when it comes to boats. I'm still learning. Because I found this game a while ago. I've not done any sort of videos on this game per se, because there's a lot of people in this particular niche. So I just decided, One more creator added to that list, eh? Awesome. So yes, hopefully I don't make too much of a mockery of my own accord, but we'll see. Still looks good though. I love that giant freaking front of the hole. Holy cow. I think it looks good. Perfect. There we go. That actually looks pretty mean. Now to add the rest of the boat. There's quite a big gap there. It's a bit of a step, so I think I'm gonna have I'm basically gonna have 2 layers of the hull. The bottom part which holds the engines and the balance, sorry, ballast tanks. I can't speak today. So I think that's where I'm gonna put that line. It's roughly there. Here we go. So I'm just going to do a little bit more at the bottom here, then I'll make it round. Because then it's going to have a bit of a shape down here. You look from the front, it's going to have a bit of a round shape. Not too much, but I need to go forward as well, so I can build that basically a dome on the front that protrudes further forward than the actual hole that's this way. I think it would be okay doing it that way. I'm just going to build that spine. Not that way. Cool. Then do it about that way. Two, okay. So yeah, there's a basic idea of what it's going to look like. So that's just going to go straight back to where the back of the boat will be. It's not going to be a very long boat. I just think it would look good doing it that way. I think so. Enough rambling. Let's build it. Do. Yeah, I think that is far enough. I think so. So now we just make this that width, but round. So it's going to be interesting, to say the least. So this front portion, I think I'm gonna make it a ballast tank, and then we're gonna go work off of it, so to speak. Because building it as a ballast tank would work phenomenally, especially if you have a lot of weight on the back side here, with your engines and your electrical systems and all that kind of stuff. You put that way in the back, so at least I do it that way. Then I have some cargo space for in case I need a big fuel tank in order to run multiple engines for electrical systems and stuff like that. That's usually how I build my boats, but to each their own. I believe everybody's own unique style is why we are unique as people, so at least that's my thought. I'm not going to get philosophical on that, but that's the idea. From the top. This is gonna look good when it's done. That already looks good. Leave it like flattened out like that. Awesome. There we go. Nice little bullet point on the front. Now I can just literally go and fill in all the tight gaps over here and over there. Like that. Something like that. Pretty cool. So here at way at the top where it has that small little walk in, literally just gonna fill that in this way. Do it like that. Because then I can literally just go straight down onto these landing platforms here. With a bit of some interesting ways of doing it. I can put it here that way. Needs to be this way. So that's basically how that's going to look with an extra piece here. In order to make it a round-ish. If I can put it here that way. So it's not bad. I'm going to run it till there. And then move closer. Something like that. That should work. So I think the smart thing to do is also to bring down these corners one by one. And that still would work. Bloody hell, there we go. Up until that point, then we can literally just go and put in the rest of the whole structure. Because then it literally just walks down into this area and then it will be fine. Because you have all this area to mess with, especially when it comes to propulsion. I think I am going to widen it there slightly. Just to have my engines and all my propulsion systems in a way that I can work with them. That isn't going to be restricted. But for now I think I'm just going to place until there. That should be fine. Then I can take this outer beacon and literally just go whoop whoop and then it'll be fine. But we will cross that bridge when we come to it. I think. I think that's not going to work too good. One of these maybe. Yes, I can do that. Okay. Cool. So this bottom side, I'm literally just going to finish to that point, and then we're going to look at it from a perspective of, okay, can I do that instead of this? Because it's going to be one of those situations where I'm going to have to plan it way ahead of time just to see whether or not it will be viable to build it the way I'm thinking of doing it. Because this is shaping to be a very large boat. With this front half is already 1577.5 kilos. I believe that is what the measurement is in. That's the thought. But we'll see. I think something like that would look awesome. So I'm just going to step this rear side in a little bit. But for now, just want to quickly finish this region. Okay. I'm going to leave this part a little flatter than what I usually leave it at. Just because I am planning to have that area as an air, or rather in this case a water intake for the balance portion here in the front. I'm already trying to see whether or not I can make this a tank. So when I do inevitably split it off that way, I can have more than enough space here for that water tank. In this case ballast tank, but still a water tank at the end of the day. There we go, something like that. Make it that wide and then literally just back. Not much space here is needed, just enough to make it look interesting. There we go. So that's roughly the idea that I'm sitting on. I think it would work. I'm gonna continue building it until it works. It's not a good fit there. Take one of these. Perfect. A portion is gonna be a little bit of a hot spot for water to continue to try and break that area, but we'll see. Only one way to find out. We'll stop there. Yeah, that's starting to take shape. Freaking crazy. Okay, let's do that. No. Perfect. There we go. It's already looking freaking mad. I actually need to fill that space in. So I think I'm going to do that. Those two spaces out. No, I think I'm just going to use one of these. That's be a problem. Okay, yeah, I built something that is not going to work well there. But no worries. We'll just MacGyver it until it works. There we go. Now that can work, given the size of the boat. This thing is also going to be very top heavy. So I think that's the reason why I'm doing all the ballast tanks and stuff, is because I saw it's going to be pretty crazy. I put it here that way. Here we go. No, okay, no, that went wild. It works. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna have to go one step back. Interesting. Just to keep it there. It'll be very, very interesting at the end, I think. Diversion channels that I have to go that way. Could be worse. I can actually do that. It would be a lot cleaner. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it that way. That way I'm not messing with stuff that doesn't need to be there. Either gonna be a beautiful disaster or it's gonna be a very, very quick boat. Because the engine I'm planning on using is gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be a custom built engine. Planning on using the custom parts that they implemented in this game a while ago. It's gonna be these. Let me just look. Here we go. Yeah, that's the crankshaft. Just one crankshaft module. Freaking huge. But anyway, back to building. What was I busy building? This, yes. So now I have to do this. Yeah, okay. Wild. All I do know is if I'm planning on doing a lot of plumbing on this boat, it's gonna be one tricky situation. Because we're gonna start on that bottom piece now of this rear section. Excuse me if I sound a little bit froggy today, but yeah. Sorry, groggy today. And also now, bonus points, my mind is not working. That's nice. Hmm. Let's do the spine again. We got too wild on the spine. Think about there. Okay, yeah, that's actually perfect. Just need to keep building it that way, because it lines up with when I bring that down, like I did in the front. Bring that way. It just works. I think I am gonna make that tall portion a lot shorter, because a lot of this I'm gonna try and keep under the water. This, oh, that's funny. Uh, Keep this below the waterline. I'm pretty much gonna do the waterline about here, but we'll see. When I'm done, bonus points if I can make it float. So that is the aim, but we'll see. We shall see. There we go. Awesome sauce. Well, that's a spectacular failure. Oh well. I guess extensions are extensions. I had to do it from the top down. Yeah, whatever. Minor mishap. Still, cool boat. Just don't have to, I just should be very careful of this. So I can't really go higher than that plane. So I think that would actually be fine. Just make it a little wider. I think so. Bring that whole plane upwards. That's a conundrum. Hmm. No worries. That actually works pretty good. There we go. That freaking works. Yes. Not making any comments. Nope. Mm-mm. Okay. Bottom side finished. So now I just need to do the rest. Fun, I think. Should have thought about that one. Nope. Hmm. There we go. I like how that looks. This is a very, very large boat. At least I have tons of room for engine placement, so that's good. Simply is going to do that for the rest of this filling, and then I'm going to add that whole filling on top of this, because I don't think I'm going to keep it that much, but we'll see. If this thing floats, I would be very amazed, considering I built it. The most fluidly efficient thing on planet Earth? No. Is it unique to its own shape? Yes, very much. So now it's time to fix this back area, which I think I'm going to fix the same way I did the bottom side of that whole situation. I think I'm going to fix it the same way, so we'll see. Something like that should work. Right, left, right, aye, okay. That's gonna bother me. Nope, do it that way. Aha. this thing looks freaking stout that way. Jeez Louise. Certainly is an interesting boat though. Certainly. Really. Okay. Wow. That's a lot of boat. Not very long per se, but still a lot of boat. As I build, I'll probably reduce it even more and make it look a lot better. But for now, main thing is to just get it floating to see whether or not there is any improvements I need to make before I add, well, everything I want to add to it. So if I'm done with this boat, it should be a pretty stout boat. Should be. At least that's the thought. Okay. So that's about the height I'm toying with. I think that should be fine. Let's just gonna close that off. All those rear parts off like that. Let's go see if it floats once I take this little bit down on the front. Actually no, we'll leave it that way. It's fine. Just remove everything what I need to remove. That's wild. Not a bad looking boat, I'd say so myself. Really. Hey, okay, whatever. Just do down about there. Well, let's go find out whether or not this big behemoth floats. How much does it weigh? Okay, only 13,400. Well, I'd say kilos, but I don't know. I need to see it. Oh, that's a boat. Okay. I'm hardware stuttering, but it's fine. So let's see what I was talking about. This thing being. Yeah, not gonna look at that shape. So this thing is well below. Well, no, actually not below. A lot higher than my waterline. So I'm gonna go make a dot on the actual boat and where I want my waterline to be. So now that I've seen how high it sticks out the water, so now I'm going to make a waterline. Usually it's red. So let's say, yep, brush. Let's do one there. Let's do a red one there, blue one there, and a green one there. I want to go see whether or not I like the positioning of the dots. Okay, once it's settled, I'll just do this. Okay, so we're well above my waterline. Still have a ways to sink the boat, so yeah, at least we have a sense of scale. This was one of the most important things to me. See how it basically becomes semi-round You look at it this way. It's not completely round, but it's close enough. Where there isn't weird gaps, except that weird gap at the bottom, but that is intentional. That's for the water to get in here. Because there's going to be a pump in the front, a ballast tank in the front, also a ballast tank on this corner, and in the back, over here. This region, because I'm going to have a jet there, 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 and there. So, as for getting on the boat, that is another reason why I kept the sides flat. So I can do steps up to the top, a ladder to the top on both sides. So yes, now I've got an idea what I'm going to do. So let's quickly go and, well, build it. I just need access on those areas. And about to there. Wow, this thing is freaking beautiful on the inside. So now I'm going to start doing my 2-deck system. Just going to do the engines real quick. I wonder if I should do customs. I do apologize for any loud noises in the background. These engines are small in this chassis. Two of those engines would produce a crap load of power. I don't think I'm going to use those engines though. I don't know. I'm still deciding. Actually, yeah, no. We can make them work. So I'm just going to do a replace the first one. Should give me an idea roughly where I should place all my other components like my flywheel, my clutch and all that. Because that is the other thing I am worried about. I can just always fix this hole later, but yeah, fuck it. Really? No, whenever I delete it. No, 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 no. Really? Fine. There you go. So now I can do all my basically driveline components inwards. So like my power is going to be here, all my water system that usually is down here, I'm going to build a way to see if I can make it work, so to speak. We'll see. We shall see. I think it would be fine. Just do something like that. Bring both my engines power to the center, meaning the drive shafts to the center. Then I can just go ahead and split it up as I need to. Because I am going to put a secondary clutch for my drive line, meaning my water pumps, the jets. These ones, where are they? They're going to be here somewhere. There we go. These. So I'm going to have a few of these on the bottom. So I'm going to have 2 of these like this and like that. just on the outers, so I can have all my water stuff down here without worry. So power and water and all that stuff. Fun things. And then for the water system for these engines to keep them cool, I'm going to use the jet drive's water intake as a secondary for the engines to coolant, so to speak. So yeah, it's going to be a situation and a half, because I used to do it with radiators and pumps, and I even experimented at one point using those liquid, pretty much liquid exchangers, heat exchangers. Here, some of these and some of these. I used to use this big one usually at the very top. So on a boat like this, I'd put them up here, very high up, so I have an air intake that feeds air into it and keeps it cool. I used to do it that way, but doing it with seawater, yes, it corrodes the engine a little more, but in the long run, it keeps the engines, in my opinion, safer, so to speak. I'm only speaking from personal experience. I can't speak for other people's experiences. And the other thing is these custom engines are a lot better, in my opinion, to use, especially if you want a tightly compacted engine, makes a crap load of power. You build them this way. That's how I do it. But to each their own. I'm not telling anybody how to do their thing. I'm just doing it my way. That's the only way I know. I just wish we had V blocks. I just wish we had that, because then it would make these engines a lot more interesting. So yeah, can't forget these. There we go. See, these have a water in, water out system, inlet, so to speak. I usually place all my inlets and outlets this side, usually. I have them facing towards each other, and then I just use coolant A as in and coolant B as out, usually. And to keep things simple for myself, I usually just label it red is out and blue is in, usually. That's just how I do it. But hey, to each their own. And the other cool thing is you can literally just connect the two banks to each other. Where's those weird pieces? These. So on the one side of the engine, I can just have a fuel intake and an air intake, and then run them that way. At least that's what the game calls them, but it's really a lot more than what they say, but it's fine. I don't argue with game logic most of the time, because it works. And because all those manifolds are connected to each bank, and because they pass through, I can just have my fuel and air on this side. I can even have them on separate banks, on separate cylinders, sorry. Where is the fuel intake? So there is air. There's fuel to fuel this one. Actually, no, this one. Air this way. There we go. Awesome. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it here until next weekend, where we complete this thing completely and we do all the other small little jobbies that needs to be done. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you stopping by, throwing a like, and also deciding to stay and watch the stream. So thank you so much for doing that. And the other thing is, if you'd like to support the channel, you can head on over to patreon.com/curiousgamer20, all one word. You will find my Patreon links down below as well. Anyways, guys, have yourself a fantastic day, and I'll probably see you guys in Tuesday's video, I believe. That is when I'm probably going to do a video, but we will see. But anyways, guys, have yourself a fantastic day, and I'll see you wonderful people in the next one. Bye bye.